We are witnessing the public collapse of Keir Starmer as his carefully crafted image shatters and his sweet promises become mere empty words. But the story doesn't end there. In today's video, we will expose the frightening face of the Labour Party under Starmer's leadership, especially following his hollow promises. Before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any important political news from us. In his desire to restore the Labour Party to power, Starmer has inadvertently revealed the cracks in the party's facade. His recent blunder at the Commonwealth Summit not only exposed his own shortcomings, but also the deep-seated issues plaguing the Labour Party. This serves as a wake-up call for those who think the Labour Party is the party of the people. During what should have been a routine press conference, Starmer was asked to define who he considers to be a worker. His response was astonishing and narrow-minded. He claimed that workers are those who go out and earn a monthly wage. At first glance, this may seem harmless, but it is a definition that entirely overlooks the realities of modern economic life. What about those who earn income from investments, stocks, or rental properties? Starmer's definition excluded millions of hard-working Brits who are significantly contributing to the economy. This is not just a slip of the tongue. It is a clear example of how Starmer is becoming detached from the very people he claims to represent. His comments have sparked outrage, and rightly so. By alienating such a large segment of the population, Starmer not only undermines his own credibility, but also that of the Labour Party as a whole. The consequences of this political blunder are immense, and it could haunt him for years to come. Let's take a moment to reflect on this. According to recent figures, approximately 12% of adults in the UK own shares, and there are around 2.5 million landlords. By dismissing these groups as non-workers, Starmer has effectively brushed aside a substantial demographic that is a vital part of the British economy. How can he expect to garner support from these individuals in the next election when he has clearly stated that they are not considered workers? This is a colossal political misstep that exposes the significant disconnect between the Labour Party leadership and the very people they claim to be fighting for. Starmer's stumble is not merely an embarrassment, it is symptomatic of a much larger problem within the Labour Party. It has laid bare the growing separation between the party leadership and its grassroots expressions, raising crucial questions about what the Labour Party truly represents. When the leader of a party struggles to articulate who qualifies as a worker, it suggests that the Labour Party is out of touch with the realities faced by ordinary citizens. But this is just the beginning of Starmer's troubles. His narrow definition of workers has triggered a storm of criticism, and experts have not held back. Lord Lamont, a prominent figure in British politics, condemned Starmer's use of the term, arguing that it implies an outdated and offensive class distinction. The backlash is not just a matter of hurt feelings. It represents a fundamental challenge to Starmer's leadership and the future of the Labour Party. Polling data has shown a concerning trend for Starmer and the Labour Party. Initial indicators suggest a decline in support among various voter groups following his controversial remarks. It feels like watching a slow-motion car crash. You see the collision about to happen, yet can do nothing to prevent it. If this trend continues, the Labour Party could find itself in a perilous situation ahead of the next election. The fallout from Starmer's blunder also raises serious questions about the Labour Party's economic policies. While Starmer struggles to define who a worker is, the Labour Party's tax plans are starting to look increasingly shaky. Starmer has promised to protect workers from tax hikes. However, the Chancellor is planning to raise taxes by up to £35 billion, the largest figure in 30 years. This plan would push the tax burden to its highest level since 1948, contradicting the Labour Party's claims that they represent ordinary workers. What does this mean for the typical voter? It means that if you're a middle-class worker or a small landlord, you could soon find yourself on the wrong side of Labour's economic policies. If Labour's definition of working people is so narrow, how can they justify taxing those who actually fit their own description? This glaring contradiction exposes Labour's true colours and raises the question, is Labour really the party for the working class, or have they simply lost their way? As we dig deeper into Labour's plans and promises, it becomes clear that the party is struggling to maintain a coherent economic strategy. The reality is that Labour's grand promises, lower taxes, big investments in public services, green energy projects, are starting to look a bit too good to be true. There is talk of a £40 billion gap in their financial plans, a staggering oversight that economists are taking notice of. The Chancellor's tax hikes could affect more people than initially anticipated. And if Starmer is to keep his promise to protect working people, he's going to have to come up with some serious explanations. But the issue runs even deeper. Labour's problems aren't confined to economic missteps. They also reflect a growing divide within the party itself. Reports indicate that there are significant tensions among Labour MPs, with various factions clashing over direction and leadership. Some feel that Starmer has abandoned the party's roots, and this discontent is starting to boil over. The situation is so dire that whispers of a leadership challenge are starting to circulate. Could Starmer be ousted before the next election? It seems increasingly plausible, especially given the internal strife and the dissatisfaction among both left-wing diehards and centrist moderates. This lack of cohesion only serves to weaken Labour's position as they prepare to face off against the Conservatives. It's crucial to remember that politics is about trust. When voters feel betrayed or misled, they are likely to walk away. And that's precisely what's happening now. Starmer's blunders have left a significant portion of the electorate feeling let down, and the polls are reflecting this growing discontent. Voters who once saw Labour as the champion of their interests are beginning to question whether Starmer and his team are in touch with their needs and concerns. Starmer's attempts to reinvent himself and his party have fallen flat. His PR team's strategy to portray him as a down-to-earth leader connecting with the working class is crumbling. Starmer has been spotted in hard hats and high visibility jackets, and while these optics might have been intended to resonate with voters, they come off as disingenuous. It feels less like a genuine effort to connect and more like a political cliché being trotted out to distract from the real issues at hand. But here's the kicker. While we're focused on Starmer's awkward attempts to be relatable, there are serious policy discussions happening behind the scenes that deserve our attention. Labour seems to be trying to change the definition of working people in order to broaden the base of those they can tax without facing backlash. If they manage to redefine this term to include shareholders and landlords, it could open the door for massive tax increases on these groups, directly contradicting their supposed commitment to protect working people. The upcoming budget is likely to raise taxes even more than Labour's manifesto suggested. Reports indicate that they are considering increasing capital gains tax and taxes on second homes. For those who have worked hard to save or invest, this is a looming threat. Labour's rhetoric about protecting the average worker is starting to ring hollow when their actions tell a different story. So, what's next for Starmer and the Labour Party? Will they rise from the ashes of their own missteps? Or are we witnessing the beginning of the end for Labour as we know it? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, the stakes are incredibly high, and the political landscape in the UK is shifting beneath our feet. As Starmer navigates this challenging terrain, he faces the dual task of reuniting a fractured party while appealing to a broader electorate disillusioned with traditional politics. His strategy will likely involve redefining Labour's core values to resonate with modern concerns, such as climate change, social inequality, and economic recovery post-pandemic. Engaging with grassroots movements and fostering a more inclusive dialogue within the party could be key to building momentum. Additionally, Labour must effectively counter the rising populism that has captured the attention of many voters, which may involve adopting a more pragmatic approach on certain policies. As the next elections approach, the Labour Party's ability to connect with the public and present a cohesive vision will determine whether they can reclaim their status as a formidable political force or face an uncertain future in the UK's ever-evolving political landscape. What are people's thoughts on the issues we have discussed in today's video? Please share your views in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on the latest information regarding the political situation in the UK. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you in the next videos.